So welcome to the Learning Reinvented podcast, brought to you by myself, Katie Godden, and the team at The Learning Effect. There are lots of learning podcasts out there, so we wanted to do something slightly different. This week, we'll be looking at leadership learning. I'm delighted to welcome Sumit Gupta to the podcast. Sumit, do you want to introduce yourself and tell our listeners a little bit about your background and what you're currently up to?
Sure. Thank you for having me on the podcast, Katie. My background is in technology and engineering, and it's kind of ironic that I find myself doing what I thought I could never do. So I started as a typical geek, very good with computers, but very bad with people and any kind of leadership and management. And then what happened was because I was doing good in my job, I was soon pushed into a management job. And that's where I started to go deeper into leadership, go deeper into managing people. And today I am a leadership coach. I'm supporting and working with many leaders across industries and from both the business world as well as the nonprofit world. And I help them deal with their challenges around learning, with their challenges around managing their teams, understanding people, building strong collaboration, building strong teams, and so on. So that's a brief summary of where I am today.
I think it's really interesting that you've come from an engineering background. What made you want to improve and kind of go into the leadership learning side of things?
Yeah, I think it was my experience when I first moved into a leadership role. And I moved into that role with a lot of confidence, with a lot of I know it all. I know how to make this team successful because I was good at my job. And then I had no idea that leadership and management was something totally different from any individual contributor role. And then when I started to apply the same principles which I have used with computers to people, I suddenly started to see people not reacting the way I expect them to. And then that was a big surprise for me because I always thought that I know how to do work and then I can show people how to do work while totally ignoring the human side of the equation. So that was what got me interested into understanding human behavior, understanding why people act, why people respond the way that they do, and then how do I tailor my communication in a way to best make sure that the team actually achieves what it is designed to do.
How did you actually go about doing that and kind of picking up that experience to get that kind of more human element?
So I have been on this journey for 12 years now. It was 12 years ago when I started to realize that something was missing, that I need to learn something new, that there was a critical skill which I was missing. And that's where I was introduced to a few leadership development programs by my then company. And that got me excited. So I was enrolled into a 3-day program, but it took me 2 years, around 2 years and because I signed up to one program after another to understand what is this thing called leadership, what is this thing called management, and how is it separate from engineering. And I got very fascinated as I tried, as I learned, and as I tried these things at my work, I slowly started to become better. I also applied these principles which I learned, and I'm still learning, to many areas outside of work. I started a not-for-profit organization. I ran it for 2 years, which was basically dealing with a lot of volunteers, building teams, but building teams of volunteers. So that's a very different experience from working in a company where people are given a salary to report to you. And from there, I learned a lot about what makes a team, what are people motivated by, and then how, as a leader, how do you listen, how do you tap into that wisdom, how do you tap into that human side of people and bring them together for a common goal, for a common purpose. And then how do you manage everything else which comes along the way, which is stuff like conflicts, disagreements, emotional outbursts, demotivation, disengagement, and so on.
So how do you actually help people become better leaders, and how do you measure those results?
Right now, I work with people on a more long-term basis, like 6 to 12 months. We meet regularly, either in an individual setting or in small groups, where we discuss different elements of leadership. So on one call, we might be discussing about teams. On another call, we might be discussing about listening and the power of listening when it comes to team building, when it comes to getting your people together. On another day, we might be talking about how to deal with disagreements, how to deal with emotions, and such stuff. So we work with the leaders on a long-term basis. And then there are two ways of measuring the outcome. First of all, we identify before we start what is the outcome that we are seeking, and this could be a business outcome like increasing the productivity, increasing the revenue, increasing the profit margin, depending on the team, depending on the company, depending on the leader. And the second could be through surveys, so checking through surveys and 360-degree feedback. What has changed for the person? How have others started to see this person differently? How is this person showing up differently as a leader? Do people see this person now as more empathetic? Do people see this person now as more able to listen, to be able to handle conflicts well? So these are the two ways I measure the results. Like first, as I said, is anything tangible like business outcomes, and the second one is through surveys, anything which is difficult to measure tangibly through business results.
So that's great. So you mentioned there that you speak to people via calls. Do you use any other sort of technology or anything like that to actually train your leaders, or is it lots of face-to-face communications, etc.?
So it's a mix of both. It's a mix of face-to-face and virtual meetings, especially after COVID hit. At the same time, the physical and the emotional side doesn't change, whether I'm talking to somebody face to face or whether I'm speaking to somebody on a video call. I still want to see the person. I still want to make eye contact. I still want to see how the person reacts to me, because these are very important elements of leadership. So for me, whether I do it physically, whether I do it virtually, does not make a lot of difference, because I still rely on. Let me go a bit deeper there. I rely on three elements of what we do, and the first one is around communication, around conversations, around language, which is where you will find most of leadership development programs. So how do we use communication? How do we use our language to interact, to build teams, and to handle different challenges? But the second and third one are emotions, which is normally not visible. So there are signs which you can see about around emotions in the physical presence of somebody, but emotions are basically under the surface. They are always playing a role. So even with my virtual calls, when I'm talking to somebody on a video call, there is a lot of focus on how to learn, how to listen to those emotions, which are not clearly visible on the outside. And then how does that manifest in the real world? That manifests through your physical body. How are you showing up in your physical body? How are you standing? How you're sitting? How is your posture? How are your body moving? How are you breathing? Even stuff like that. So my work involves a lot of physical element, like using the physical body, listening to the emotions. At the same time, in terms of technology, in terms of the method of communication, I have done it even on video calls. I have done it even in telephone calls, like without the video as well.
So from your experience, and you've obviously worked with a lot of leaders, what makes them not learn or want to learn, and what are kind of your resolutions for that?
Wonderful. That's a wonderful question, Katie. So I think just like I shared about my journey when I first became a leader, I came with an attitude of I know it all. Like, I know how to do my job, and now I can make my team successful. I can teach my team also how to do the job. And what that did was that closed me to any new learning, even when people were giving me feedback, or even when I was not doing well. I was seeing things happening, but I was ignoring it because I was not open to learning. So I think one of the most critical lessons that I have learned around learning is that learning never stops, and to always take a beginner's approach, to take an attitude of that I do not know, or there might be something which I might be missing here. And then that creates that openness for learning. And leadership is learning. That's how I see leadership, because the world is changing so fast, and COVID has shown that to people, even if people were living under the illusion that we are only safe. We are living in a safe and secure world. COVID has shown how dynamic and how unpredictable our world can be. And if we are close to learning, we will not learn even when the signals are in front of us. So the first step which I advise every leader to approach and to take a mindset is to take a mindset of a beginner and to say that I do not know. That I do not know that there might be something else which might be happening here. And then there is always an opportunity to learn, to become better at what I do, at how I deal with people. So that's the foundational element of learning which I see is missing in a lot of companies, and that is often a result of being in a constant hurry to do more or to be more productive. Because if I am always looking for the next thing, I am looking for the next project, then I do not have the time to stop and listen and reflect on what am I learning, what are my experiences teaching me. So one way to incorporate this I do not know attitude into your calendar, into your day-to-day work, is to have space for reflection let's say every 7 days or every 15 days, where you stop and you reflect either alone or together with your team, that what are we learning new, what has worked for us in the last 2 weeks, what has not worked, and then from those results or a lack of results, what is it that we can learn and that we can implement. And then also asking for feedback from people, that what might I be missing here, what might be a blind spot which I'm totally overlooking, and then creating that, because this also helps in creating an environment of psychological safety with the team. If you ask people for feedback on where you might be missing out on things, that immediately creates trust, that immediately creates this openness to share feedback. And then you will see that people will be willing to share something with you, which might be very insightful for your own learning. So for me, that's the critical role of learning in leadership. And in fact, I would call that learning never stops. Like as long as you are a leader, there is always something new to learn about either a person or a project or the market or the economy or your business or your team. And if you keep your ears open, if you keep your eyes open, there's always something to learn and then to adapt and then to take that learning forward.
What do you think your next steps are for you as an individual and kind of in regards to your leadership learning as well?
Yeah, so I'm continuously engaged in learning from different angles. Even now, I am engaged in a year-long leadership program just to be in conversations with people from across the world. And I think one thing which COVID has brought on, which is positive, is that now we have programs where you can talk to people from all over the world. So like in this leadership development program, I am there with participants from the US, from the UK, from India, from Latin America, and then also from Europe. So just having that exposure, having those conversations allow me to see things which I would never see if I am only busy with everything which I am doing for my work. So that's one thing which I am doing. I think the next thing which I am doing is challenging myself to dream bigger, to take bigger steps. And this is something which I do with my coaches as well. So applying the same learning to my own journey as a leadership coach. My plan for next year is to build a team here in Amsterdam. And how I will do that will become a part of my own learning. How will I take care of what that team needs? How will I create enough business to sustain that team? Is actually going to be a big learning opportunity for me, because I'm setting up a new team here in a different country that from where I grew up in, and there is a lot of things which I do not know, but I am open to figuring out those things and then learning if required, learning a new skill, learning a new technology if required, and then seeing what happens. So I'm stepping into the unknown, especially when it comes to next year. At the same time, I would like to say that I am not anxious about it. I'm kind of open and excited about what all might be in store, and there might be some successes, there might be some failures or setbacks, but I'm looking forward to that. So that's my take on where am I headed next.
I think that's really interesting that you're kind of taking your own learning and applying that to yourself as well. And obviously you can use your examples when you're actually helping your own leaders improve their leadership training as well. So that's great. So thank you for joining me today, Summer. If people want to connect with you or find out more about you, how do they get in touch?
So I have a bi-weekly newsletter which goes out every 2 weeks on Tuesdays. So people can sign up for that on deployyourself.com/newsletter. In this newsletter, I normally share about how leaders are more powerful than they think they are. And this is very similar to my own journey. Like I was underselling myself. I did not even knew that I was capable of things. And then over the last 12 years, I have done things which I never thought I could do, like running an NGO, leading multiple different teams. And now I'm supporting social entrepreneurs, leaders from different organizations as well. Apart from that, I'm also quite active on LinkedIn. So people can find me on LinkedIn and just send me a message or a request. And I'm always very active, and you can expect a response very soon from me.
That's great. Thank you very much. We'll put those links in the show notes as well so people can click straight onto them. So thank you once again.
Thank you. Thank you, Katie, for having me.